25 drivers, 16 nationalities, 3 champions, 1 world champion. Road to Indy TV.
Jonathan Thomas to give the command.
Thank you. And on behalf of everyone at Cooper Tires and the fine men and women who engineer and build the race tires you drive on today, drivers, start your engines.
And with that command, Michael Young, we are underway. 13 drivers firing things up on pit lane. It's time to go Indy Pro 2000 racing.
Thank you, Rob Howden, and here we go, the final race of the weekend. The second rung of that Road to Indy program, Indy Pro 2000, presented by Cooper Tires. Kyle Kirkwood on the pole. Rasmus Litt will start on the outside. Parker Thompson, who does double duty this weekend. He'll be running in those Porsches. Just a little bit later on this morning, he'll start on the inside of row number 2. Daniel Frost on the outside. Stingray Robb, Philippe Dennis make up row 3. Rodriguez, Saravali, they are in row 4. Lastishkin and Corey Eggers, row 5. Moises de Oliveira, Jacob Abel, row 6. Charles Finelli round out the field. Fields away, making the way down the front straightaway. And we see there Charles Finelli. The back of the screen there. There goes Finelli. Trying to get that. Looks like he has an issue. Oh, there's car 6. So car 6, Moises de Oliveira sits on pit lane. The car will not roll. Moises de Oliveira. That's Steve Knapp there looking at that car.
Remember, that was that massive shunt yesterday.
That's
that
right,
team
yeah.
had to put that car back together. Moises de Oliveira coming out of this very challenging turn number 11 yesterday in the race. Hammered the outside retaining wall. Team working.
I saw Steve Knapp there working and looking inside the car there. Wow. All right, well, we will see if Moises de Oliveira will be able to get away, but at this point it looks like he'll sit on pit lane.
You can do everything you can. When the car is just damaged as it was, you pull everything off. You're putting new suspension back on the thing. You're going through all the diagnostics to make sure everything's fine. You fire it up, and before you bring it out to the grid, you never know what's going to happen. Steve Knapp from Elite Engines will be there, as you said, going to work, seeing if they can't get that going. Moises will very likely have to start from pit lane if they're able to get it refired.
And at this point, the field already coming around will go green, already will be a lap down. There you see them working on the machine of Moises de Oliveira. He sits, I'm sure, frustrated in the cockpit of that car.
So Steve Knapp, former Indianapolis 500 Rookie of the Year with a hat. You see him there with the white shirt. His son Logan Knapp works with him, alongside him, a family company at Elite Engines. They're trying to do whatever they can to get that thing back together. But nonetheless, we're getting ready to go racing, folks. They haven't lined it up yet. Interesting. Kirkwood and Lint, row 1. Thompson and Frost, row 2. Finally getting things lined up. They are rolling some speed coming onto the front straightaway here. We're set to go Indy Pro 2000 racing. Green, green, green. Flag being thrown, and it's a big, deep move to the bottom of the racetrack. Kirkwood trying to hold the inside. Parker Thompson coming through. Not a great start for Rasmus Lint. Tough one for Rasmus. Clean through.
Yeah, Rasmus doing a good job getting that position back, or was that his teammate Stingray Robb?
Big cheer up here in the suites for the team Saravali. Antonio Saravali trying to work his way forward. Little luck up there coming into turn number 3. That's Rasmus Lint able to get by Parker Thompson. So count Lint up into second again. Thompson goes back to third. Stingray Robb 4th through the Cooper Tire turn number 5. There's your top 5. Good start again for Daniel Frost as he now works his way to P5. Everybody settling in the opening circuit. We had a little bit of chaos at the end of the USF 2000 race. Again, a long one here for these drivers. They're all settling in. 30 laps for drivers here in Indy Pro 2000. Again, opening circuit. Everyone getting a feel, trying to bring these Cooper tires up to temperature. But again, getting a feel for the way the track has changed since the last time they were on it yesterday. We did have those torrential rains yesterday, a couple of races going in the books. They're able to get the number 6 of Moises de Oliveira fired up, and he will be a full lap down when he comes back out. But for Moises getting that track time, yellow flag. Being told we have a yellow flag on the racetrack. Opening lap yellow.
And Antonio Saravali dropping to the bottom of the timing and scoring.
Trouble for Antonio Saravali potentially. He has fallen to the tail of the timing and scoring. We'll see if we can't pick up Saravali on one of our cameras here for you. But again, Saravali potentially off the racetrack over between turns 4 and 5.
Turn 4 and 5.
So trouble for the driver who had such a tremendous run yesterday, Saravali.
And there's the shot where we believe the Saravali car would be.
Yeah, the way the camera angles we have here for our static cameras, lockdown cameras for this Indy Pro 2000 event, hard for us to be able to see, caught in between them. But looking at live timing now, Saravali has fallen down to 12th in the order. So, and even on our shot here, Michael, our GPS screen off over in turn number 4 and 5.
We just saw a shot back from turn number 5. Could not see anything there.
Number 98 of Philippe Dennis into pit lane as well. And
that happened right away at the start of the race. Dennis was on pit lane.
Logan Knapp going to work on that machine as well. So the Fat Boy Racing number 98 for Philippe Dennis. And she started P6. Tough for him.
And Philippe came in before we even went green. So he came in on the parade lap.
So an inauspicious beginning here as we had a little bit of an issue. Antonio Saravali, one of the stars from yesterday, tremendous run to P4. It's not going to happen here today for the young driver from Unionville, just a little northwest of where we are here in downtown Toronto. It's a big race for him. I talked to him yesterday, asked him if there was any pressure, more pressure at Toronto, and he said no, not at all, which I thought was very interesting. I think he's probably thriving in the pressure of being able to run in front of family, friends, and supporters, but after a great run yesterday, Antonio Saravali issues between turns 4 and turns 5. You got to think, if you're just going to kind of make an estimated guess here, hardcore racing coming out of turn number 3, potentially tapping the wall on the inside of turn number 4. So Kyle Kirkwood able to take the lead early. Parker Thompson got down to the inside in turn number 1. He was able to grab the spot away from Rasmus Lent, but the point leader got back by on the run down to turn number 3. Thompson wisely gave up the position and tucked back into 3rd. Stingray Robb moves to 4th. Daniel Frost in the 5th position. 6th is Ian Rodriguez. 7th, Jacob Abel. Started 12th, stays out of trouble. Jacob Abel moves up 5 spots. Of course, a couple from attrition. Abel goes to 7th. Nikita Lastishkin in 8th. Corey Enders 9th, and Charles Finelli in 10th. Philippe Dennis remains on pit lane. Antonio Saravali, out of the race. And Moises De Oliveira back on track after diagnosing the issue, down 1 lap. So they'll circulate around here now. Again, the heat will stay into these Cooper tires. We'll get ready to go back at it. A 45-minute, or 50-minute rather, time window. So lots of time to get this 38-lapper or 30-lapper in the books.
That's an odd spot. Boy, we had various angles. I don't know, probably tucked maybe on the inside, right? Because we look back on turn number 5, and there's nothing there, so it must have been on the inside. The safety truck's there, and we saw the CAA record going out to...
I have to believe contact coming out of 3
sure.
or to 4, and then, he just probably tucked the car to the left side of the racetrack.
Right.
A wise move for Antonio.
It's just an odd spot we couldn't see, so an unfortunate start, an unfortunate finish for Antonio Saravali. Philippe Dennis still sits on pit lane.
Yeah, Antonio, of course, as I said, great run yesterday and had a ton of momentum coming into this one. And actually, I think he had a pretty good start as well. Was able to get at least 1 or 2 spots on the opening lap. Now everyone settles back in. They're on track. They were able to get that opening lap underway. They're racing.
All right, so let's go to the shot from turn 3. We'll see if we can pick up Antonio Saravali.
Here comes your leader, Kirkwood, through. There's the move to the inside for Rasmus Lent. Where is Saravali in the bright red machine? This will be Saravali coming to the outside. He's actually on the inside.
Yeah, and that potentially was that contact right there.
That looks like they were coming through to the inside. If we can look at that again, I'd like to see that now that we've picked him up. One more shot at that replay would be fantastic. Saravali was on the inside, side by side, I believe, with Ian Rodriguez. Yeah. Here's another shot at it here. You can see him on the inside of the apex. I think he may have just tipped the inside of the wall because it looked like the car kind of moved a bit to the left. Rodriguez potentially pinching him down on that corner.
Yeah, you go side by side. Anything could have happened past that. But the fact that Rodriguez is still rolling.
close quarters racing in turn number 3, especially on the opening lap, because again, turn 1, you say it all the time, right? You can't win the race in turn 1, but you can sure lose it. But
yep.
the other side of the contrast of that is the easiest way to get positions in a race is at the start.
Your best shot to pick up positions, right? Yeah, right at the start.
So
and that run to 3 is another great. I mean, you can look at how stacked that field was when they got down to turn number 3.
Well, as the pace car comes off turn number 8, does it indeed head to pit lane? It does. We're going back to racing. Kyle Kirkwood in the 28 for RP Motorsports Racing. 2 times a winner at Road America. 2 poles here this weekend. An issue yesterday. He's trying to do some recovery mode racing here. Rasmuth Link, your point leader, the same thing. He wants to pad that lead. They'll work their way to 11. We're back to racing once again. The green flag being displayed here at start-finish.
Rasmuth Lint had a tough start. Parker Thompson starts to look to the inside. Now the outside. Rob's right there.
Stingray Rob saw what was happening. He did not go down to the inside. And indeed, as you said, Lint did not punch off very well. So he had to dive to the inside defensive run all the way to 1. I'm kind of surprised Parker didn't stay wide to try to get a better run out of the corner, but I think he was defending as well. On the inside line, when it gets stacked up like that, you always think that someone's going to come down the inside of you. Everyone's settling in so far. Daniel Frost, I think, potentially to the inside of Stingray Rob as they work their way again out of turn number 3 to turn number 4. Oh, there's a driver off Stingray Rob into the wall. Stingray Rob touches the wall on the exit to turn number 5. If that car isn't damaged, he is a lucky man because that thing drifted way wide coming out.
He's still under power, still going quick. Wow.
It must have been a straight center shot because Stingray Rob tapped the wall on the exit of turn number 5. Indeed, he still runs and is on the throttle. That thing got away from him at the apex of turn number 5, shot right out to the wall in the Cooper Tire corner. Stingray Rob holding on.
Nice move by Parker Thompson getting around Rasmuth Lint.
I'm just saying right now, kudos to everyone at Tatis because that is a strongly built race car. For him not to be, because he tapped the wall coming out of 5.
Oh, more than a tap.
Yeah.
Punched it a little bit.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And that is straight concrete out there. There is no tire barrier at all. That's the Cooper Tire sign over top of the concrete.
Wow, and look at Rob's attacking now, trying to get around his teammate on the outside.
Trouble yesterday for Stingray Rob. He made a minor mistake. Now he wants to go back up, trying to get around his teammate. Parker Thompson's gone to P2. Rasmuth Lint now under complete attack from his teammate, Stingray Rob. Stingray, his 3rd year here in the Indy Pro 2000 category. Top driver in North American karting for many, many years. Jumped right into the Pro Mazda category a couple years ago. Of course, this program now Indy Pro 2000.
Not recommending, punching the wall like that, but that looks like it made it go a little bit faster.
I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know if it's faster or if it's just really kind of fired him up.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just to light the fire under Stingray. What a tap that was coming out of 5. But yeah, showing no ill effects from the contact at all. Daniel Frost, yesterday's winner, still running in 5th. Ian Rodriguez, 6th. Jacob Abel, 7th. Lostiskin in 8th. 9th is Anders. 10th is Finelli. Kirkwood leading by 1.2 seconds.
Jacob Abel, big wobble going into turn number 1. Able to make it through unscathed. Nice lead for Kyle Kirkwood, by the way.
Yeah, update on Philippe Dennis real quick. The number 98 still on pit lane. No word yet whether or not they've been able to diagnose the issue for Philippe Dennis. He'll be back next year for a full program as he continues to work on his skill set, learning these tracks.
Daniel Frost, nice battle with Ian Rodriguez. That was down in turn number 3.
1.2 seconds, Michael, was the gap between 1st and 2nd last time by. Kirkwood about a 0.2 of a second faster than Parker Thompson very, very early in this contest. And when you talk about these Cooper tires, they last so well throughout the session, but they will go off. They're designed to go off near the end of it. And this track is notoriously rough on tires, so you have to take care of your rubber, especially in a 30-lap race with this much horsepower. Good shot of the drivers coming out of turn number 11. There's the lead for Kyle Kirkwood. Rasmuth Lint kind of reestablishing himself, pushing back. He was 0.2 quicker than Thompson last time by, so he's back at it again, focusing forward. But the mindset of a point leader coming in when you're not the outright fastest driver on the racetrack. When you're the outright fastest, you're going to blast away, you're going to get wins. When you're not, and you're in the hunt for 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, that's when the mindset kind of changes a little bit. You kind of work on strategy. knowing that you need to have the right points, especially knowing that Kyle Kirkwood had that DNF yesterday.
And this is going to be a big day for Kyle Kirkwood. If he can indeed pull off the victory today, a big reset for him. Lucky at the end of that when he got a lap down, and he had a lot of DNFs at the end of that race for Kyle Kirkwood, for him to be able to score a victory if he can indeed hang on to that 1 second lead. Big race number 2 for that young man.
It'd be huge, wouldn't it? It's for him to be able to come back in here, Michael. Kyle Kirkwood was right back in the championship hunt after those 2 race wins at Road America. He fell back, Michael, to 4th place in the points, 41 markers behind Rasmus Lint. If Parker Thompson's still able to hold on to 2nd, let's say Lint finishes 3rd, you're talking about a probably 5 or 6 point gap. That's just chipping away at it. That's what Kirkwood's got to do. The contrast to his season last year, so much consistency. He won 13 of the 16 races, set a new all-time record for victories, just didn't have any issues. It's been 3 issues, major issues this year. Early on, front wings getting knocked off on the opening lap here. Of course, yesterday the issue with his teammate that sent him into the wall.
We never had a shot of that, but not really a mistake on his part, just contact. And that's something that he avoided the entire season last year.
Yeah, nothing of his doing yesterday at all. He got aggressively pressured by Daniel Frost at the start, opened the door, and Frost took it. And then then his teammate Ian Rodriguez was right in the fight as well. And again, guys are racing for position. You're going to have contact. Definitely not of Kyle's doing, but he's going to try to come back here today. Got to do it. You got to come right back. Get on the horse.
I'll say this, that gap looks like it has shrunk from 1st to 2nd. Let's see.
We got to watch lap times. That's one of the things I really love when you utilize live timing is to find the pace. Let's see the momentum. Is there a trend of a driver getting quicker and quicker? Parker Thompson, a 10th quicker last time by to Kyle Kirkwood. Less than a second now, the gap between 1st and 2nd. He gets a couple more tenths of a second, then that draft can really work down the straightaway.
Working lap 10 of 30, the 2nd rung of the Road to Indy program.
A little lock up there in turn number 3, left front, lock up for Rasmus Lint as he tries to rotate the corner. Get deep into turn number 3, and another part of this racetrack where it's that trademark pavement, concrete pavement, where you're transitioning over different surfaces, and the car is going to handle every time. You kind of have to let the car take a set. You got to anticipate what the car is going to do when it gets to the next surface. Turn number 8 here, exactly the same. Pavement, bumpy to turn number 8, cross the concrete, which is in all our corners, back onto the pavement on the other side. Got to make sure you get ready for that car to get snapped loose.
Well, keeping an eye on Stingray Robb, starting to lose touch with his teammate Rasmus Lint. That gap now 4 car lengths, and that may open the door for Daniel Frost, but that gap about equal from Robb to Frost, from Lint to Robb, Robb to Frost.
Daniel Frost able to take over 2nd spot in the points from Parker Thompson yesterday with that big victory that he was able to get. His 2nd victory of the year for Daniel Frost and Exclusive Autosport. Still 31 points behind the leader, and to win a race is 30 points. Yeah. So essentially a full race behind right now. So Daniel Frost, who now runs 2 spots behind Rasmus Lint, cannot afford to let him stretch away anymore with really only 4 more weekends left on the schedule.
Nice battle for 7th. Jacob Abel, Nikita Lastishkin. That's further back in that shot there. You see that right there.
Again, the battle there for 6th and 7th. That's Ian Rodriguez and Jacob Abel. That was that fight that just came through. Lastishkin and Enders. Actually, Lastishkin running all by himself on the race. That's him right there.
Yep.
The next battle, the next battle I want to say is Corey Enders and his teammate Moises De Oliveira down a lap, but they're running together. And the camera angle that we have coming out of turn number 11 just shows how precarious it is. Those drivers kind of dancing the razor's edge coming out of 11, trying to keep it off the wall. It's such a tough part of this racetrack.
Jacob Abel a couple of laps ago really had the back end step out exiting turn number 8, and that has been a tough corner. It's just amazing to me just watching and here's that battle there with Rodriguez and Abel going down into turn number 3, potential pass.
Leaders come through all the way back to Frost in the 5th position. Rodriguez in 6th, 7th is Abel, still holding the spots. Very similar to Jack Crawford's plight in USF 2000. wrecking early in the practice session and having to fix the car through the next session. Same goes for Jacob Abel. He had a big shunt, of course, at the start, very opening lap of Indy Pro 2000 practice. They got the car fixed. He got a couple laps, those sighting laps in to start off qualifying 1 for yesterday, and then another car leaving pit lane, drive on the throttle, the car taking off, actually hit his right rear and sent him out of the session. So he's 2 full sessions behind everyone else as well.
I don't know what happened to Jacob Abel. He was right under the rear wing of Ian Rodriguez, and when they came out of turn number 3, yeah, it's a big gap there.
Lost almost a second on that last
sure
lap.
Did.
You're going to get a good look at all 3 of the Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tire Series here today. If you were with us earlier, we had the fantastic battle in USF 2000. Christian Rasmussen from J. Howard Driver Development scoring his first win of his young Road to Indy career. Yesterday, Daniel Frost winning in Indy Pro. We'll see who's going to grab the victory here today. Kyle Kirkwood right now up front trying to get his 3rd triumph of the 2019 season, having won both races at Road America just 3 weeks ago. Still looking at these lap times. Parker Thompson closes down to within 9/10 of a second now in that number 8. Interesting story overall for the season for Parker Thompson. Came into the start of the season, did not have a ride at all. Hooks up with Abel Motorsports, essentially to help build data for Jacob Abel, who will run next year. This is the team that's trying to move forward. They'll probably have another driver alongside Jacob next year. So Parker got brought in. You're our guy. Let's work on the development. Let's work on the data notebook. But he also, as that happened, picked up a couple of sports car rides. Ended up racing down in the U.S. in the Porsche GT3 program. Up here at GT3, he's also got a Canadian Sports Car Series program that he's running, a lot of different racing. And this particular weekend, Michael, I know you've called the Porsche GT3 races. He's jumping back and forth.
Yeah, we saw him on Friday walking from pit lane back to the paddock to drive that Porsche.
Just going back and forth between the very light and nimble Indy Pro car and the very powerful but much heavier Porsche GT3 car. Going back and forth, the transition has to be tough.
Oh, he can't throw that Porsche around as easy as he can that Indy Pro 2000 car.
Thompson, again, just a little bit quicker, only by about 0.03 of a second last time. The gap between first and second still 0.836 to be precise. What about this time by? Does he
Parker
close it up?
looks like he's chipping away.
Oh, good.
10th of a second.
Another 10th, but they're getting down to the 107s now. Cars are starting to get faster. They got the rubber down. They've got the heat built into the Cooper tires. The fuel load will continue to drop. And the lighter the cars get, of course, the quicker they'll be, the quicker they'll accelerate, the easier that you'll be able to decelerate on braking. Kirkwood, Thompson, Lint, Robb, and Frost, the top 5 now. Just 3.4 seconds separate those top 5. Another 3 seconds back to Ian Rodriguez, who runs in 6th. Jacob Abel in 7th. Nikita Lastishkin in 8th. Corey Anderson 9th. And Charles Finelli in the 10th spot. Moises De La Vera in 11th. 1 lap down. Philippe Dennis remains on pit lane with an issue. And, of course, the incident on the opening circuit for Antonio Saravali has put him officially classified in the 13th position.
Boy, Rasmussen Lint starting to close in on that rear wing of Parker Thompson, halfway this time by.
15 laps down, 15 to go in a 30-lap contest for Indy Pro 2000. Big drift out of turn number 11 there for Daniel Frost. The leader starting to close up here on Charles Finelli in the number 83. Gotta hope that they catch Charles at a time that maybe be a little easier to get by. Yeah, Charles is getting off the throttle coming out of turn number 2. Gentleman move for a veteran driver. Charles Finelli getting off the throttle. He'll let the field come through, and then we'll pick things back up again. So Kirkwood coming through. This is a good battle here still. Look at Rasmussen Lint. He's closed back up on Parker Thompson. In fact, everything's closing up here because Parker Thompson just lost a bit. Still 0.8 of a second back, but both Thompson, Lint, and Robb all closing up on the leader. Only 3.3 seconds separating first, second, and third. Go back, actually, fifth, all the way back to fifth, 3.3. 2 seconds for the top 4.
I think in another lap or two, we might see Rasmussen Lint starting to pressure Parker Thompson. That went from about a 5-car length gap down to 2. Here they come out of turn number 11. Kyle Kirkwood is your leader.
Michael, you have to believe as a race car driver, you're always balancing that, understanding that you want to win a race, but these guys are racing for over $700,000 in scholarship money to be able to go to Indy Lights. What does Rasmus Lint think? He's 31 points ahead of Daniel Frost. Frost is behind him right now. 32 points ahead of Parker Thompson. It's a full race ahead of Parker. Do you push? You don't want to make the mistake. You don't want to see what happened to Braden Eves where you end up getting a DNF and fall to the tail of the field. He's 41 points ahead of Kyle Kirkwood. That's the battle. Do I stay in third and get a good points, or do I take a run at it here?
Well, I think right now he's going to try to make a run at it because he's right over that rear wing of Parker Thompson. Tried to look to the inside at turn number 3. Right there you see that battle for second place. Nice battle for fourth as well. Daniel Frost catching Stingray Robb.
So are you trying to say he's answering the question for me?
I think he heard you.
I think he may have.
Yes.
Rasmus Lint was a tremendous young kart racer in international karting competition. Top 5 in the World Championships a couple of years ago, and he has definitely been part of this Swedish invasion here in the NTT IndyCar Series and Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires. Of course, Marcus Ericsson, Felix Rosenqvist, impressive in the NTT IndyCar Series. What do you think? Can Rosenqvist win today? He's been a victor here before. He swept the weekend in Indy Lights a couple of years ago. Does he have what it takes to win today?
Yes, he just can't make mistakes. I think sometimes he gets out. He just has to drive smart. He has to be there at the end. But he certainly has an opportunity. He has a fast car. He does well, especially here in Toronto. His only time here, he swept the weekend. Just has to be patient. He just has to work that final bit of racecraft and be patient so he can be there at the end. But if he's there at the end, I think he could certainly win this race.
I do not disagree with you. Felix Rosenqvist, of course, part of the Swedish invasion, as we talked about. Rasmus Lint, impressive last year in USF 2000. Wasn't able to get a victory, but was always in the hunt. Came out of the box very strongly here in Indy Pro 2000. A couple of wins at the road course at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. One as well in the most recent event at Road America. Good run yesterday on the podium again. Finishing in the second position. It's just been a really strong weekend so far here for Rasmus Lint, putting a lot of pressure here on Parker Thompson.
Looked like Lind may have hit that curbing in turn number 8, bounced that car out.
I don't think Daniel Frost is out of the hunt yet either.
No.
Yeah. All the top drivers turning 107.6s, 107.5s, 107.4 for Daniel Frost.
Yeah,
fastest driver
there
on the racetrack, and he is now closing up on Stingray Robb. Drivers working through turn number 5 up and across the curb. Just a little bit of curb coming in there to kind of get the car to rotate. Turn 6, then back on the throttle through that very quick turn number 7.
Every time I think we got a battle starting, everything kind of settles back in.
Most of the drivers further back with some separation, but
that Rodriguez-Abel battle's really settled down. They were right on top of each other, and that has settled down.
Looks like Jacobs trying to chip away at it again. He was quicker, but only by about a tenth that last time by. 19 laps down, or working lap number 19. 11 laps still remaining. Rasmus Lint just turns fast lap of the race. Here comes Rasmus. Definitely not done at all. Indy Lights, their second race coming up as well. A lot of racing action for you here. Big day. Beautiful day here in Toronto, and those of you who have come early to join us with this Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires competition, we thank you so much. And again, as always, saying hello to those of you who may be listening around the country or around the world through the Road to Indy TV app or on one of the online pages in which to watch the action. My name is Rob Howden, joined so many times, and again this weekend here by Michael Young, the voice of the Honda Indy Toronto. Always great to have Michael with us. Watching the drivers work their way through the final third of this race. Daniel Frost, I think one of the drivers getting ready to put on a charge here now as he is trying to line up Stingray Robb. There's Ian Rodriguez navigating his way through turn number 11. Little wiggle from Robb, the front end dancing around, coming out of turn number 1, getting it pointed back in the right direction for the chute and the run all the way down Lakeshore Boulevard. Yeah, Daniel Frost on the gearbox now of Stingray Robb, trying the outside run, over under. Little bit of a brake lock up there for Robb. Frost going around the outside. Here's turn number 5. Who's going to come through with it? It is indeed. Good run there for Daniel Frost. Book it. He gets the pass done. An over-under in turn number 3. Side-by-side through turn 4. And then able to get the car to rotate coming through turn number 5. Yesterday's winner, Daniel Frost for Exclusive Autosport, makes the pass and moves into P4. Good run for Daniel Frost. Stingray Rob still P5. Car dancing around a little bit there on the American. 1.1 second, the advantage now for Kyle Kirkwood over Parker Thompson and Rasmus Lint. Parker has won countless races in his time here on the road to Indy, has not been able to put together a program yet to win a championship, but Parker, one of those drivers that just does not have the budget. Only one time really was he with a championship team. That was the year that he ran with Cape Motorsports, his second year in USF 2000, battled it out with Anthony Martin, who would go on to win the championship. Parker then came back, had a chance to run with Exclusive Autosport when they joined up in 2017, their debut in the USF 2000 program. Brought Parker on board to essentially handle all the data. They had no information coming in, so grab one of the top drivers, let him drive your cars, and see if you can't fill the database with the information you need for the following year. Parker did that, did tremendously well. Stayed with the team when they then debuted as well in the Indy Pro 2000 category with the brand new Tatis PM18. Did exactly the same thing. Parker Thompson was charged with learning the race cars, building the data. And one of the reasons why Exclusive Autosport is so good here this year is because Parker Thompson did all that data work last year. Daniel Frost definitely benefiting yesterday from the race win. Parker was strong here last year as well. And now doing it again. Again, this is what you do when you're a workman-style driver with no budget whatsoever. He's running with Able Motorsports. Once again, trying to build the database for a brand new team. Running very strongly right now here in second. Trying to win this championship, which will, of course, put him into Indy Lights in 2020.
Quickest car on circuit right now, Rasmus Lint. He's about a tenth quicker than Parker Thompson and Kyle Kirkwood.
A lot of pressure up front, no doubt. Rasmus Lint, that car starting to come in nicely. You see everybody kind of dropping down to the low 107s now, Michael. Daniel Frost able to get by Stingray Rob with a over-under in turn 3 that he completed up in turn number 5.
And you had said that he was quicker, and we were keeping an eye on that and certainly able to make that pass. Wondering now, obviously Stingray Rob and that hit, he's still able to continue, but if that car is starting to go away.
Yeah, I wonder.
Because he's just slowly dropping off. I mean, losing 10th after 10th after 10th. Rasmus Lint just sets new quick time, 107.2.
Yeah, Daniel Frost then takes it away.
Wow.
Frost now the quickest driver on the racetrack as he's trying to close up on Rasmus Lint. He's 2.8 seconds back. There's only 7 laps to go, and he was only about a tenth quicker. I think Daniel Frost, unless Thompson and Lint start battling, could be a P4 position here for Frost. But I'll tell you, they are definitely closing up on Kyle Kirkwood now. Parker Thompson has closed up. I don't know, did Kirkwood make a little mistake? Because they are significantly closer than just 1 second, I believe, now. Parker Thompson can see it. He's almost in the place now. He's going to start getting that draft. Thompson runs in second. Lint third. Out of turn number 3. Kirkwood will roll the RP Motorsports car through. Solid line. We'll see if there's any change in the gap. 1 second was the gap between first and second last time by.
That's visibly closer.
It seems closer.
You're right.
Out of turn number 11. Did Kirkwood just have a bad lap, or did Parker Thompson turn things up? Thompson found some more speed. He, in fact, goes purple. Fast lap of the race, Parker Thompson. Daniel Frost takes it right back. Frost 0.3 quicker than Lint. There is no quit in Daniel Frost.
No. It's been an impressive race for him.
Indeed. Second place in points after that victory. We're going to have a really tight championship battle. Kyle Kirkwood, 4th in points, 41 back, but he's the leader right now. Everything's going to tighten back up with the top 4 in this championship battle.
There's 1, 2, 3.
You know, I was going to say Kyle Kirkwood yesterday, Michael. We had him on the broadcast for Indy Lights with Nick Yeoman. And he was very honest and talking about the fact that, you know, an issue not his fault, but he's a veteran. Only his second year on the road to Indy, having won USF 2000 last year. But here's a guy that has run at the very top level of North American karting, one of the very best in karting for many years, represented his country overseas in Rotax competition. This guy's been through the ringer in terms of pressure, so yeah, it's a different stage here in Indy Pro 2000, but they've been through the pressure. They've learned how to handle these kind of challenges.
I thought it was interesting listening to Kyle talk, how big picture he was, considering how last year he just dominated the USF 2000 field. Looking at this season, the incident that happened in race 1, okay, now big picture. Lost a position, that's okay.
Indeed.
I'm very impressed with it.
Maturity as well, right? We talk a lot about some of the younger drivers, those 14-year-old drivers in USF 2000. Good to have them there. They're running very wisely. They're running mature. They're showing patience. But there's a maturity of a 19, 20-year-old who's been through it before. And you realize that one race does not make a championship. You have to piece together results all year long. And for him to come back right now, still able to lead by over a second from Parker Thompson, this would be big for Kyle Kirkwood. Another recovery after the issue yesterday, coming off those 2 wins. If he wins here today, that's 3 wins in the last 4 races for Kyle Kirkwood. That's momentum heading to Mid-Ohio in 2 weeks.
And hey, when you start winning races, the rest will sort itself out. If you're winning, there's nothing else more you can do. Winning's winning.
Drivers have confidence in themselves. They have self-belief. They have a certain level of ego. You have to have that when you're a race car driver. But you also can get down on yourself when you haven't won yet. It's that first win that I think that really fuels that internal belief and the wins that Kyle Kirkwood was able to get. And not only himself, but in RP Motorsports Racing as well. He believes in the team and the engineers. The engineers in return will believe in his skill set. When that bond comes together, that's when you start seeing the real wins come. And that's why Kyle Kirkwood was on pole both races this weekend.
And that's one of the most important things that you never really hear about. But if you don't have that team gelling together and that commonality that everybody's thinking they're all on the same page, you don't have that, you're not going to be successful.
You have to have the synergy between the engineer and the driver. That is one of those, the secret sauce of the equation. Kirkwood still leading, folks. We've only got a handful of laps to go. Less than that, in fact. It'll be 3 to go when he comes across the stripe once again. He has been maintaining a 1-second gap over Parker Thompson. And Rasmus Lint continues to put the pressure as well on Thompson. Again, almost similar lap times, 107.3. Daniel Frost continues to turn the best lap times, but he's just not close enough, and they're not racing in front of him. The fastest driver on the racetrack, the exclusive Autosport, number 68, Daniel Frost, wheeling the PM18, but they're just not racing in front of him. He's not getting a chance to close up. Everybody turning good lap times. Little right front lock up there for Rasmus Lint. Hard into the brakes. And you know this, Michael. When you start locking up that right front, you do it a couple times. You keep hitting that same flat. It's not like it's a different flat spot. If you flat spot more than one occasion, it's getting that same spot every time, and it just keeps getting worse and worse.
I don't want to be called a liar, but my guess is now Rasmus Lint is now thinking big picture. I think he's resolved to the fact he's going to get third. He hit that. Boy, you see a really rough patch coming out of turn number 8. That really jostles these cars. But I think big picture now, hey, I got a podium finish. Thompson ahead, Kirkwood ahead. I think he's content where he is.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. Big wiggle. That was a big slapper there for Daniel Frost coming up 11.
You should have seen it last time. I mean, he's been doing that every lap after lap.
And that's why he's the fastest driver on the track right now. He's hanging it out a little bit. But I'll tell you this now, if I'm Daniel Frost, or I'm saying the same thing, I'm not going P3. Let's just get home these last 2 laps. Let's not make any mistakes here right now. You've got a 2.5 second lead over Stingray Robb. Back it down just a little bit, especially coming through that corner. 2 laps to go, and in fact, white flag will fly next time by for Kyle Kirkwood. Gap still 1.1 seconds. He has flat managed this race.
Oh, yeah.
Able to get out front early, setting the lap times. You know that his teammate calling the gap back to Parker Thompson, who got by Rasmus Lint early. Tremendous run here now for Kyle Kirkwood. Same for Parker Thompson. This would be his 3rd podium in a row so far this weekend. 3rd yesterday. Was he 3rd yesterday? 3rd as well, I believe, in the Porsche GT3 category. It'd be 2nd here right now. He'd be going for 4 straight podiums this afternoon.
Be a big weekend for that young man if he can complete.
They got to get this last one done, Michael.
That's the thing.
1 more lap to go. Indy Pro 2000. Kyle Kirkwood looking to bring himself back into the points here now. Rasmus Lint, as they run, 226 points. Kyle Kirkwood would be back by only 31 points. He would make up 10 points. We would have Daniel Frost at 187. Kirkwood would then jump to third, 195. Parker Thompson, 201. 25-point lead for Rasmus Lint as they finish here. Everybody's chipping away at that lead for the young Swedish driver. As we've got 3 road courses and 1 oval still to come for Indy Pro. Final lap on the racetrack for Kyle Kirkwood, the young American from Jupiter, Florida. RP Motorsports Racing. The Mazda Soul Red colors for the driver who won the USF 2000 championship last year. He'll work his way out of 8 through 9. The tough turn number 10, off-camber right-hander through turn number 11. Just got to keep it off the wall as they come out. And indeed, ladies and gentlemen, a day of recovery here on Sunday. Kyle Kirkwood, the winner in Indy Pro 2000, race number 2 on the streets of Toronto. Kyle Kirkwood advances himself to third in the championship points. Just 31 markers behind Rasmus Lint, who comes home in third. Parker Thompson, the Canadian, his 3rd straight podium finish of the weekend. Parker Thompson, P2. He only 25 points behind. Parker Thompson goes back to 2nd in the points, just 25 points behind. He made up 7 points. This is what this championship's all about. Consistent results, weekend in, weekend out.
I don't want to say what Kyle Kirkwood did today was a statement, but it certainly shows how focused he is as a race driver right now. That was an impressive run today.
You know what, Michael? I think it's a statement. I think that's a perfect word for this because you think about how good he did at Road America. That was definitely a statement.
Right, that was a statement.
I can win races here. I can win this championship. He comes back, couple of pole positions. That's another statement. This is almost the exclamation point on the end of the statement saying, even if I had the issue yesterday, I'm not going down without a fight. I'm back in this thing. He is not that far back behind in points, as I said, just 31 markers back. Parker Thompson, 25 back. That gap shrunk up big time for sure. Daniel Frost had a great run as well.
Yeah, he's right there too.
He's only, I think, 39 points back.
That's a lot of
39 points. Top 4 drivers.
Yeah.
Lots of racing.
It's going to be a fantastic finish to this championship. That is for sure.
So drivers will work their way in. Of course, they'll head down to the OLG victory lane. What a tremendous run for Indy Pro. Kudos to Kyle Kirkwood. Another big win for him. 3rd on the season. Parker Thompson in the 2nd spot. Rasmus Lint, ladies and gentlemen, in 3rd. Daniel Frost in 4th. And there is a happy Kyle Kirkwood. Stingray Rob rounding out the top 5. I'm going to head down for pre-race for Indy Lights.
Our thanks to Rob Howden, the voice of this Road to Indy program. There you see the victorious Kyle Kirkwood getting set to hop out of his Indy Pro 2000 machine. Very busy day as we get set for Indy Pro 2000, or should say the Indy Lights series coming up next. Qualified a little bit earlier this morning, and there you see the unofficial results for that Indy Pro 2000. Race number 2, Kyle Kirkwood victorious. Parker Thompson P2, Rasmus Lint coming home 3rd today. Beautiful day, and we thank you, race fans, for joining us here. Race day, the Honda Indy Toronto. We'll have a final practice session for the Indy cars, and here he comes. Young man from Jupiter, Florida, victorious Kyle Kirkwood. Well done.
Hey guys, we're here at beautiful Toronto, Canada. Just finished the 2nd race today that ended at 10:55 this morning. A phenomenal race for myself and the RP Motorsports team and Mazda Motorsports. We were able to just check out with the win, but I did have to push that entire race because Parker Thompson, Rasmus Lint were right on my tail the entire race, and they actually almost got to my gearbox a couple times, especially early on in the race. And like I said, I had to push the whole time, but big thanks to RP Motorsports, Mazda Motorsports, First Tex Industries, Bell Helmets, and Saybelt.